the trips to chemo every Monday, they were adding up. It was like $100 with insurance. The cost of going through chemotherapy, I added it up, and I did have a big community of friends and relatives that would take me to chemo, pick me up from the doctors. They would DoorDash me food.
What were some of the symptoms that you come across before you found out? Apart from the lump, you said you found a lump. Did you have any symptoms that was leading up to that?
I had a toenail fall off completely when I was just putting lotion on my feet, and then I felt something hard in my hand. I thought it was a chip that I was eating the day before on the floor, but it was my toenail.
I never wanted you to touch that as yet, you know. My mom died of cancer, and it tore me apart. Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Brian, and this is the Ivy Cancer Podcast. The death of my mom had inspired me to interview people with cancer or who have been affected to help spread awareness. The broader my subscribers are, the more people will be motivated to share their story. So if you come across this platform and you would like to help me achieve this goal, please hit the subscribe button. It will be greatly appreciated. A video will be uploaded every Wednesday. Thank you. So, I just want to introduce you to the Ivy Cancer Podcast team. As you can see, guys, she have her name, Breast Cancer Warrior, and that says a lot. I've been watching her, I've been following her, and I listened to her story. And I've invited her to share her story with you guys, the Ivy Cancer Podcast platform family. And you will be blessed tonight to hear these information. We've been trying to plan this for a while. She's a busy woman and she's taking her time out to share her story with us. So Michelle, welcome to the Ivy Cancer Podcast. I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to hear your story and the struggles that you've been through. As you already know, guys, I am Brian and I'm the host of this Ivy Cancer Podcast platform. I started this podcast because I lose my mom to breast cancer, and I have researched and I've realized the depths, the struggles, the pain, the anxiety, the trauma, you know, this can cause and such person, you know. So I take the initiative to try and see as best as I can get as much people as I can get to do this interview with me, to share their story. My interest in this podcast is to build a charity platform on YouTube so that I can help others, you know, fight this deadly disease. Normally, Michelle, we normally have a tradition that I would normally have where I have a word of prayer. I normally start because regardless of what some people may think, nothing is possible without God. You know, if you don't believe in God or not, nothing is possible without God. And the fact that my mom was a prayer warrior and she was a strong believer in God, and I am doing this podcast on behalf of her, I can't start my podcast without no word of prayer. You know, so, but, you know, I would give you that honor to bless us with your words of inspiration through prayer.
Oh, so you want me to lead the prayer?
Yes, of course. If that's okay with you.
My brother is a pastor at his own church.
Really?
But I'm gonna try.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. God, I ask you today to help me find the words to express everything that I've been through in my journey. And I ask you to bless everyone on this live, everyone who sees this in the future. And hopefully this helps them get a sense of what we all go through when we have cancer. And I ask that you bless everyone in the world that is going through this, about to go through this, or already has gone through cancer. It is a horrible disease, and I pray that we someday find a cure, or we never have to go through all the things that we're going through now. And I pray that you give me patience and guide my words today. And I thank Brian, too, for inviting me. Amen.
Amen. Wonderful. Wonderful. Hi. YouTube have two ways to push your channel. With that said, I'm asking you two quick favors. If you like what I'm doing and want to support my growth, please give me a thumbs up so that YouTube could send my videos out to like-minded viewers just like you. 2. I've noticed that 70% of you who have revisited this channel have not yet subscribed. Please hit that subscribe button. That way my channel will grow. And my promise to you is to give you more content with substance just like these. Do we have a deal? Thank you. So, Michelle,
Yes.
so I noticed you labeled your display name as Breast Cancer Warrior, and we will get into that as to why you name it a warrior.
Okay.
Can you give us some insight about yourself before we go inside the topic of discussion?
Okay. I don't want to get too personal about my personal life.
That's fine.
But I was single, living with my daughter, who was 22 at the time I was diagnosed. And it was really hard for us because I had a full-time job. I had a wonderful, wonderful manager who allowed me to work from home throughout my whole chemotherapy. And my daughter got 2 jobs to help with the finances, because the trips to chemo every Monday, they were adding up. It was like $100 with insurance. The cost of going through chemotherapy, I added it up, and it's $300,000 for the surgeries, the MRIs, the PET scans, and all the blood work, the doctors. Of course, because I had breast cancer, I had an extra doctor. I had a plastic surgeon and a breast cancer surgeon. Other people don't have those extra doctors, so I had extra costs. And then the medical hurdles that I had to jump at the end of my chemotherapy, that added too. So it was a struggle financially to go through chemotherapy. But I seemed to get through it with my daughter's help. And I did have a big community of friends and relatives that would take me to chemo, pick me up from the doctors. They would DoorDash me food. And if it weren't for them, it would have been pretty lonely and harder to go through. Yes.
Thank God for the support that you got. You were diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer.
Yes.
When did you found out that you had that cancer?
So on October 14th, I woke up on my, regular day to work, and I felt a bruise on the side of my breast.
Sorry, October 14 of what year?
Oh, 2021.
2021. Okay.
Yes, 2 years ago.
Okay.
I woke up and I felt like my breast was bruised on the side. And when I pressed on it, it felt like a lump, like a hard bruise. So I went to work and I was telling my coworkers about it. I did call my doctor. She didn't have an appointment, my female doctor, the GYN. So then I called my family doctor, and she was able to see me within 3 hours. So I went to see her, and she was like, you need to get an ultrasound and another mammogram. And I had a mammogram in February, and this happened in October. And all of a sudden I have this lump. After the mammogram, it took 2 weeks to get an appointment for the mammogram and ultrasound. And that's when I kind of knew I had something wrong, because when I did the ultrasound, the tech called a doctor in to look at the results. And then he said, we need to do a biopsy because we really don't know. And then 2 weeks later, I did the biopsy and they put a tracker in it. And when the guy who did the biopsy, when he put the tracker in there, I asked him what that was for. And he said, so that we can track the tumor. And after everyone left the room and I was getting my clothes back on, that's when in my mind I said, something is wrong with me, because they want to track it.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know where this tumor is at all times. Something's wrong. So I waited like 9 days, and then my gynecologist called me and she told me I had triple negative breast cancer over the phone.
Over the phone. So they didn't call you in to give you a face-to-face over the phone.
I've been going to her for like 7 years, and she's done surgery on me for endometriosis, and she knows my personality, and I wanted to know. And I didn't panic. I didn't freak out. I drove home. I was right out of work in my car, and I drove home. I was fine. And then I called my older son. He is 27 now, so he was 25. And I told him, and we cried over the phone because he lives in Tennessee. Then I called my other son, and we cried. And then my daughter, and we cried. And then finally I had the courage to call my mom and tell her, and she cried too. So I got all my cries out in the beginning, and I did it immediately because I don't like to hold that in.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I decided to do chemotherapy.
So how long after you found out before you start treatment?
So I found out in November, I think it was November 19th, that I had breast cancer, and my doctors worked very swiftly because I had a good health insurance. So they contacted an oncologist, and they gave me that information. And I had an appointment December 5th, and my mother went with me to that appointment. And then after that, I started chemo immediately, December 13th. So from October to December. So when I talk to people on my page and they're like, I have a lump, or I think I have cancer, I tell them, go immediately and get diagnosed fast, because everything takes so much time. It took me 2 months to start chemo, and it felt like forever. Like I just wanted it to be over, because I'm one of those people who has a lot of energy, and I was just like, let's get it over with. I'm ready. Let's do it, because I can't sit around and wait. I'm very impatient.
When you found out, at what stage it was at that time?
That when the doctor called me on November 19th, she said, you have stage 3.
Stage 3.
Because they did the biopsy, and then the ultrasound was able to measure the size of the tumor. So the tumor, when we first found the tumor, when I did the ultrasound, it was at 3.5 centimeters. And then when I started chemotherapy, the tumor was at 7 centimeters. So it was a rapidly growing tumor. So the doctor, the oncologist said, we're going to do a aggressive chemotherapy on you. And they did, because it was hard.
I found out that triple negative breast cancer is a very rare cancer, and there's not much treatment around for it. And it's a very aggressive cancer. When my mom found out, she found out in January. She had done a biopsy, and over 9 months she didn't get the results, and she didn't know what was happening to her. She was constantly having signs, but wasn't aware of the signs that she was feeling. She was having earache, she was having chest pain, she was having pinched nerve, as what they said to her, but they never diagnosed her for cancer. They said to her that she had low blood platelets. She was anemia. And you know, so at that time they still didn't diagnose her for anything, and she was still waiting for the result. I was the one who picked up the result for her after she passed. They didn't even want to give it to me, you know. Several times she went there and they said it's not ready yet, it's not ready yet. So if she had gotten that news early enough, then maybe she could have done something about it. But she never knew. So she knew the January after fell ill and went into the hospital, and then the March she was passed. So given the fact that you heard that news and you found up your children and your mom and you cry, what was the feeling like for you when you found out that you had cancer and you know that this is a new journey for you? How did you felt at that time?
I love this question because I immediately posted on Facebook, I'm glad that it happened to me and not my children. I don't know if it's because I'm a mom and some moms tend to be controlling over their children's feelings. We are protective. And immediately my first thought wasn't, oh my God, why did this happen to me? My first thought was, yes, I'm happy. I'm going to fight this. I can't see my children laying in a bed hooked up to a machine and being helpless. I couldn't be helpless. Yeah. So that is always my first thought, and I hold that dear to me, that I'm glad it happened to me and not my kids.
Yeah, definitely. So you found out that you had cancer. You know, many people, when they found out that they have cancer, they freaked out. You know, they start having high anxiety, as someone said, Tony, and said her son now diagnosed with cancer. Sorry to hear that, Tony. I hope they, you know, act speedily, and I hope you get the result that the outcome that you would love. And you know, so many people do not accept these kind of information easily, because the very moment somebody been diagnosed with cancer, one thing that comes to their mind, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Did that ever come to your mind at any given time?
Yes. My last month of chemotherapy, I actually told the doctor I don't want to go to chemo anymore because I have a very strong intuition. And when I was sitting there receiving chemo in the chair, in my mind, I would hear, it's killing you. And before my last treatment, I was hospitalized for 5 days because my white blood cell count was at 0.04 or 0.4, I think. And they were giving me steroids. They were giving me antibiotics. They were just pumping me up with a whole bunch of stuff for 5 days straight in order to get me out of the hospital. And that was really scary. So I didn't want to finish my chemo treatment. And after having a sit down with the doctor, he decided that my last dosage would be less than half, because he knew my body was already just worn out. That was in my TikToks. I have videos where I have black spots on my eyes and around my lips, because the chemotherapy was eating at my skin.
Yeah, the last interview I had with this breast cancer patient, she beat cancer as well. You can check it out on my YouTube channel. She said the same thing. It made her had black spots, you know, her eyes, her lips, you know. So,
it's your body getting rotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long did what were some of the symptoms that you come across before you found out, apart from the lump? You said you found a lump. Did you had any symptoms that was leading up to that before you found that lump?
Yes. So I didn't think about it until after a year or so later. About 1 month before I got the lump, I got real bad acne all over my face, like a cluster of acne. And I usually don't get acne. And this was like maybe 10 pimples all around my face. And I didn't know why I was having that really bad acne. I didn't get sick. I didn't have any other symptoms. My face was just reacting weird. Yeah.
Because breast cancer is a hormonal cancer.
But mine wasn't.
Triple negative wasn't. So
Yeah.
you didn't have that, some people had that, inverted nipple, and you didn't have none of that.
No.
Okay. So after you start, how many cycles of chemo did you went through?
I don't know the actual number. I just know I did 6 months of chemo every Monday.
Every Monday.
From December 13 to May 23rd.
Okay. So with the side effects, apart from, you have that black spots, did you have any other symptoms?
Oh, symptoms during chemotherapy?
Chemo, yeah.
Yes. I had black spots inside my mouth, on my tongue. That's why I started brushing my teeth with baking soda to alkaline my mouth, and it got rid of all the sores and the spots. My fingernails were turning black. I have videos of that on my TikTok. They were lifting. My nail would lift over the skin, and then it had like a pus on the inside. I had a toenail fall off completely when I was just putting lotion on my feet, and then I felt something hard in my hand. I thought it was a chip that I was eating the day before on the floor, but it was my toenail. And I have a video of that. I said, "Is this a potato chip?" No, it's my nail, my toenail. Oh my God! I'm glad I took a picture of it because I just wanted to remember what chemo was doing to me. I had the black spots. I was tired. I would tell my manager I'm going to take a 30-minute to an hour nap, and I would wake up 4 hours later.
So chemo was taking a toll on you?
A big toll on me. I used to go to the gym 5 days a week and have a trainer before I even got diagnosed. And then during chemo, I stopped weightlifting. Some women do. They weightlift and they go to the gym during chemo. I couldn't. After receiving chemo on a Monday, I didn't get my symptoms till Wednesday. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm recovering from Monday's chemo. And then Saturday would be the day that I would actually put on a makeup or a wig and go have lunch with my daughter and get in the car. And I never drove because I was scared that I would get weak and tired. So at the beginning I did drive, but after the 4th month, I stopped driving. Yeah. It takes a toll on your body. My body felt like I had pneumonia, for 4 days straight after chemo.
Some people lose their hair. Did you lose any of your hair?
I lost all my hair. I have a lot of bald, I have bald pictures. I lost my hair. Then I got chemo acne all over my bald head. And I got a lot of acne on my face too. And the doctor prescribed ointment, and I made TikToks about that. Actually, all these TikToks were Snapchats that I made for my cousins and my aunt and my family on Snapchat. I didn't intend to make a public page about any of this. I was recording it for myself, and maybe one day, if I were to pass away, my kids go through my Snapchats, they would see me making these videos. And now I just decided, you know what, I'm going to share it with everyone, because I looked out there and I don't see anybody posting their pimples and their nails falling off. They're not posting any of that. So I wanted to.
Someone just joined the chat. Her name is Stacy. She said she's from Barbados and she had triple negative as well. I hope you know it is okay. You earlier on in the conversation you mentioned that they put a tracker to track the tumor. Was it this? Was it the dye?
No, it was a little. It was like a little device that they injected into the tumor.
Okay. Okay. So that would tell them if it's spreading to anywhere else. Okay.
Well, actually, the breast surgeon said when they do the mastectomy, they put your tissue in this machine and it fillets the tissue like when you fillet a fish. And they look for the tracker to find the physical tumor or to see where it was before. Because I drank the soursop tea and my tumor disappeared after 2 months.
I never wanted you to touch that as yet, you know. I never wanted you to.
Okay.
You know, sometimes you have to see every sweet part for last, you know. I never wanted you to touch that part as yet, you know. But you touch it now, so some people have an idea of certain things. But before we touch the sweet part of it, my mom, her cancer spread like in her lungs, in her bone, in her brain, in her liver. What did it spread anywhere in you apart from?
No.
To God be the glory. You know what I don't understand? I don't know if it's my research is going backwards or what, but when I spoke to the doctor, she said to me, once the cancer moved from stage 1 over 2, it spreads. That's what she said to me. I still have the conversation on the phone, still have the voice note, but at that time they was only assuming she had cancer because they never done any test. But based on the symptoms that she was showing, the signs that she was showing, her eye was bulged. That's how they knew it was in her brain. Because so they asked me to get a first biopsy because she done a first biopsy test. And that biopsy test, the doctor said, look, you do not have cancer. However, you need to do a follow-up, you know. And that's when she went and do a follow-up 6 months after. But that follow-up result never came till 9 months after, unfortunately. So it's after she start vomiting blood, you know, she can't keep anything down, you know, she start having headaches, constant headaches, you know, and doctor was just saying to her, you know, look, you have an infection in your chest, give her, they just keep pumping her with medication. No one knows what she was going through until she started vomiting blood and she went to the university hospital. So basically, I'm happy to know that, you know, yours was stage 3 but never went any further. You know what I mean? You decided you was going to come off chemo. What made you make that choice that you wanted to come off chemo?
That was when I was towards the end of my chemo and I was hospitalized.
You was hospitalized?
When I was yes, I was hospitalized because I couldn't even get out of bed. I was very weak. And my daughter said, go to the hospital. And when I went to the hospital, I felt like they were trying to keep me alive. And on my last day of the hospital, I feel like I almost died. So that's why I wanted to stop. But I had made it already my 5.5 months of chemotherapy.
Okay. So you think it was the chemo that led you to that point?
Yes, my body had had enough. 6 months of chemo, that's a lot.
Okay. So you come off chemo. The doctor may have advised you, look, you can't come off chemo because this and that.
That's what he said. That's why my last dose of chemo was only half. Instead of 6 bags, I did 3. So he just cut my dosage in half of chemotherapy. And then 3 days later, I was in the hospital again.
So when you decide you're going to come off chemotherapy, what was your next, decision to step forward to? Because the doctor said, Michelle, you can't come off the chemo because this and that. What was your next option? What did you think about, what was your next step? You had to have some form of plan before you can say, I'm going to come off chemo. What was your plan? Did you have any plan?
No.
You just come off?
I didn't stop the chemo. I did my last dosage of chemo.
Okay, so you finish your cycles.
I wanted to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And he said no.
Okay. So
I wanted to stop because we got to touch up on the T part, and that's why I wanted to stop.
Okay. All right. So I know normally when you finish your cycle of chemo, they would run you through a phase of blood tests or some scans. And what was your results after your last chemo?
Negative for everything.
Negative. Did they give you any advices as to any recurrence? Did you anything like that?
Nope.
Okay.
They just said every 6 weeks you're going to come and do blood work, and you're going to come to your 3 doctors. Then it'll be every 3 months. Then it'll be every 6 months.
Okay. Tell us about the soursop.
So 1 month after I started chemotherapy, I went to visit my cousin and his wife. And my cousin said, you need to drink this tea. This tea kills cancer. And he said, you can research it, but I'm going to give you the whole bag right now. And while I was at his house, I drank the tea. And he said, you need to drink it every day. So my cousin is like a brother to me. He's a few years younger than me. And his wife, I respect her so much because she went through breast cancer in 2019, but she did not drink the tea. So I drank the tea every single day in January, February, March, April, May, June, every day for 6 months. But after the 2nd month of drinking that tea, my tumor disappeared completely. So I was happy. I thought, I'm free. I went to my breast cancer doctor and I said, I need you to feel for my tumor because it's gone. And she felt for it and she said, I can't find it. The chemotherapy did its job. And I was like, what? So I went to the oncologist and I said, can you feel for my tumor? And he said, it's gone. And I said, good, I'm going to stop chemotherapy. And this was in February, around the 26th of February. I had only been doing chemo December, January, 3 months. I've been doing chemo 3 months. I've been drinking the tea every day for 2 months. And my tumor disappeared. And I wanted to stop chemotherapy. He said no. He said one cancerous cell can get into your lymph nodes and spread through your whole body. Don't stop chemotherapy. So I got scared. But I kept drinking the tea every single day. And I think if I didn't drink the tea, I wouldn't have made it this far because I still was hospitalized 2 times drinking the tea every day. I still went to the hospital. for white blood cell count low and no adrenals in my body. The cortisol levels were almost at 1.
You know, I say this all the time. Like, when I was a kid, the power of soursop and its leaf, we took disadvantage of it. Like, we never knew really the power. When I was a kid, when my mom was facing hard time and couldn't find anything to give us to drink for tea, she used to send me around the backyard to pick some soursop leaf for tea. Never knew that that could rid of cancer cells.
Right.
I'm one of them late, one that stopped pee bed late. And my mom used to cut the heart out of the soursop and give it to me to eat. It was not one of the best tasting fruits ever. The soursop within itself is fine, but they call it the art of the soursop to stop me from urinating the bed at night,
Oh.
So soursop is a very powerful fruit, but many people know about it, many don't know about it. And what I realized with the pharmaceutical, as your doctor said, which is rightfully, because my research, it can definitely spread to the lymph node. You know what I mean? But the cancer cell have an on and off switch. It's what you feed it with.
Yes.
Just like our gut microbiome. We have the good bacteria, we have the bad bacteria. We have biome that tells us, it controls our mood, it controls our appetite. It's what we feed that gut bacteria with. You know what I mean? And if you're going to feed your body with chemo, you're only feeding the bad bacteria. Right? Yes, some people come out successful with it. Some people don't. But it's not everyone respond to these medication very well. And as I said, I had an interview with a lady who got the chemo. She finished her cycle, but luckily she found her cancer at stage 1.
Wow.
So, and all she found it was, she was rushing off, because she said normally in the morning she don't eat or drink tea before she would leave out. And we Jamaican would call, sometimes you feel like a stick sharp pain inside your chest or stuff. We call it gas pain. We blame gas pain for everything. And she said she felt that gas pain struck her in her chest that morning. And she felt it, and she was like, what's this? And that's how she felt the lump. Had it not been for that gas pain, she wouldn't felt that lump. You know? And then she said she couldn't wait for school to over, because she was she teaching school, primary school teacher, and she said she couldn't wait until she reached home to get that, looked at. And she looked at it, and she realized something was wrong. And then that's when she visit, the doctor. Her story was amazing. It's on my YouTube page. So you give the contribution to the soursop leaf.
Yes.
Okay. Did you change your diet in any way?
Yes. I could not taste meat or bread or certain vegetables. And I started eating a lot of fruit. And I know fruit has natural sugar, and you're supposed to stay away from sugar when you have cancer. I craved watermelon, and it wasn't until last year that I found out watermelon seeds kill cancer also.
Yep.
But every morning, my daughter would fix me a bowl of fruit, and it would be watermelon, cantaloupe, any fruits with seeds. I try to kind of follow the Dr. Sebi diet when it comes to certain fruits. Just eat the ones that have the natural seeds in them.
Yeah.
I didn't eat a lot of bananas. I did eat yogurt. My daughter made me a lot of pastries like muffins, blueberry muffins, cranberry, but she would put the actual fruit in the muffin. And I drank that tea. I did sea moss because my cousin's wife was making it. She would mix it with applesauce. And I did a spoon of sea moss every morning, a cup of soursop tea, and B12.
Michelle, what I realized with cancer is that over the period of time doing my research and interviewing doctors and herbalists, I realized that cancer cell is something that we were born with.
Yes, and it mutates.
It's something that is within us. And what I've understand about cancer is that when you found out that you have cancer, it has been there 10 years prior to the symptoms. You know? So when you found out, it has been there already. It's just reached to the point where it starts, you know what? I'm going to come out now, Michelle. I'm going to show you that I am inside you. You know? And some of the things that I've analyzed is that, fruits, as you said, that fruits is sugar and we should stay away from sugar. But the sugar from fruits is not so bad as with the sugar within itself. And some of the fruits that helps with cancer is blueberry and strawberry. All the berries, they got cancer fighting properties in them. So we are not a doctor, but if you check the history in Bible time, meat was not something that was designed for us to eat.
Exactly.
Because in Genesis it said, I give you herbs. I give you herbs for food and for healing. And that's what it said in Genesis. It was after sin came in, then, we're starting to eat meat. I'm sorry to hear that, love. I am sorry to hear that. But as she state that she's triple negative as well, I want to let, people understand, and even yourself, Michelle, stress plays a lot.
Yes.
Stress plays a lot. I would like to consider the endocrine system as a call center where each organs in the endocrine system send messages to each other about your hormones. And stress is something that, glorify cancer.
Yes.
So I would tell, those who have cancer, to basically, I can't say anything I want to say because I don't have cancer, right? And you probably say, what he know about me? Why is he telling me not to stress? I'm not telling you not to stress. I'm just giving you advice. Try stress a little less. As you said, Michelle, you had a big supported system. One of the things that my mom never had. I can remember one night in the hospital. I'm trying not to get emotional now, because
don't cry, because I will cry.
I'm trying my best not to get emotional. One night my mom was at the hospital, and there was about 10 to 11 people in there. And my mom, for the first time in hospital, she was laughing. The first time in hospital, she was laughing. And you know what she said to me the following day? She wished she could have family members and friends to come around like this, because she felt good. And I admire this guy that I follow. His name is Randy. He have a page, hello, it's me again. Very inspirational guy. I put my hats off to him as well. When he was going through his struggle, it was one of the most uplifted spiritual person you can ever find. And you would say, like, how could this guy have cancer? And he's so upbeat, you know? But then I realized cancer feeds off stress. So if you can go for a little walk to relieve some of the stress, you know, go out with friends. Do not stay inside your house and stay there and worry, because you're feeding the cancer. And for those who are on this live now, I've seen a few people that say they have cancer. Sugar is the feeding tree for cancer. I never had cancer. I do not have cancer, but I had a mom that had cancer. And her experience opened my eye, and that is the reason why I'm doing this podcast now. It's to help shed some light. You know, I've been doing some research, like, Michelle, I never knew that I can read so much. If you see, show you something. It's a book here. This is from the Macmillan Foundation. I walk and pick them up. I'm doing research after research. On my shelf there, there's so much book about cancer. So I can tell a little bit about cancer now that I couldn't tell before. You know what I mean? So it's something that I am researching, because if I'm giving you interview, I need to know about what I'm interviewing. You know what I mean? So so we have to just treat our body right. As Barbara, Sister Barbara would say that, you know, our body was designed to heal itself if given the right treatment. So we have to just try and treat our body right. What we eat sometimes affect us.
Yes.
And in this day and age, we tend to eat a lot of processed food. Right now, my lifestyle has changed so much. I used to eat like 2 chicken leg, 2 chicken breasts every day. Religiously, every single day. Beef, steak, mutton, you name it. Guess what I eat now? Bush. I'm literally eating green leafy vegetable, beans, legumes, these things. That's what I'm not a vegetarian.
Yeah.
I'm not a vegan. I'm just choosing to eat better options. You know what I mean? To feed my body the best way possible. Right? So, since you found out now that you are in what the doctor would call it, remission, how have you been feeling since?
Stronger, more alive. It took me a while to accept, because I was bald and my hair grew in all white, and once I started dyeing my hair and seeing a little bit of it grow, my confidence grew. But I feel a lot better. I still have medical issues from immunotherapy, what they tried to do after chemotherapy, but I'm on medication and my diet has changed just like yours. I eat meat once a week. I eat lots of beans, vegetables. I eat more fruits.
Right.
In America, there's this place called Smoothie King, and they have a fruit bowl, and the bottom of the bowl has blueberries, raspberries, and I think also strawberries, and they blend it into a smoothie, and that's the bottom of the bowl. Then they put some oats or coconut and blueberries, strawberries, and banana, and then peanut butter. And I will eat that for lunch instead of a hamburger or fajitas or nachos or whatever other people in the office are eating. I'm eating this big fruit bowl because I already know that I don't want to put all that in my body.
Right. I'm glad that you changed your diet to some extent, because some people think that our diet has nothing to do with it. Yes, our diet have a lot to do with it. Regardless of what, you know, I seen somebody was commenting that the doctor said that her son is not, you know, not an option for him to take herbal medication. I'm not a doctor, but sometimes it's best to take, you know, get some other advices. Honestly, sometimes it's best to get other advices, because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of doctors now are using herbal medication in their treatment.
Oh, no. In the United States, I told my oncologist, he was like, what are you doing? Are you exercising? This was the second or third month of chemo. And I said, no, but I'm drinking some teas. I did not tell him soursop tea, because I'm in my 40s and I know better. I know in America, they make their money off of keeping you sick and giving you medications and keeping you in the hospital. So I did not tell him the type of tea that I was drinking, and I just kept drinking it, because this is my body and it's my life and it's not his life. So I am paying for him to give me chemo, but I'm also trying to make myself healthy when I'm away from chemo. So I did both. I did both out of fear.
I was going to say that at the end of the day, remember, it's your choice. I've interviewed a lady some time ago. She had bowel cancer, and when the doctor told her she needed a lumpectomy. What's the bag called again?
Lumpectomy.
Bag.
Yeah, lumpectomy.
The bag. Yeah. She said she's not having that.
Coloscopy bag.
That's it. Right. She said she's not having that. And then she heard about this herbal doctor in Jamaica, and she contacted the herbal doctor, and the herbal doctor give her, you know, some medication from Jamaica. He shipped them over, and she start taking them, and after she start taking them, boom, no more cancer, you know. So she had made a stand onto what she believed in within herself, because she decided, listen, I'm not going to do this, because those bags can be for temporary and it can be for permanent. After you cut a few inches out of your colon, it's no telling that it can heal after that. So some people on it for life. Some people, so she decided, you know what, I'm not having that. You know. So remember, guys, it is your choice. We are not telling you what to do. Our advice is not a doctor's advice. Just to put it out there, we only can let you know that there are options. You know, think about your health. Think about yourself. And do some research. Do some research, because
I feel like chemo was poison, because you're poisoning your body trying to kill these cancerous cells. You're actually allowing them to give you poison. And I'm lucky. If I don't want this ever to happen to me again, but I will never do chemotherapy ever. And I didn't need to do radiation, because when they did the mastectomy, they could not find a tumor.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Yeah. Michelle, really appreciate you coming through with this, your experience. I also have a...
Yes, papaya is good for diabetes. Sorry, I was reading Joey's comment.
I also have a closing tradition that of this YouTuber, Stephen Bartlett. I love that guy podcast so much. I've learned so much on his podcast. And he have a closing tradition where he asks his guests to leave a message for his guests coming up, not knowing who will be coming up next. So I've changed that around, and because my podcast is about encouragement, it's about trying to spread awareness. You know, everyone need some form of comfort. So my thing is, I ask my guests to leave some encouraging words for the next guest coming up. But your encouraging words, I would ask you to send me via WhatsApp. But this encouraging word came from stay strong in what you believe in, and you will conquer all fears. That's my encouraging word for you. Right?
Thank you.
So, thank you again for...
Right when you said that, the sun came in through my window.
Oh gosh, look at that. The blessings start flowing. The blessings start flowing. Before I go, Tony, you mentioned that your son is diagnosed with cancer. I am sorry to hear that. I don't remember what cancer you said he is diagnosed with. But I can see that Joanna is giving you some encouraging words. And I would like to give you some encouraging word as well. You know, to tell your son to try and be happy as much as he can. It's hard to say do not stress because you have, you know, feelings, and we are all human, lymph node, and that's, and to be honest with you, I think there is an operation that he can remove the lymph nodes.
Yes. The soursop tea does help with the lymph node cancer, because I have a TikTok where I ask everyone, why did you drink this tea and what did it cure for you? And someone did say lymph node cancer. So I would encourage him drinking that tea. If he doesn't like how it tastes, add organic honey or make it into popsicles. Make it fun. I don't know how old your son is, but try to get him to take the tea every day.
Okay. And I would say as well with the honey, I've learned